Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Okay, I'm just sounding a little confused probably right now because I was a little confused. I found a new setting on my phone. I don't know if it's new or if it's always been there, but I didn't notice it until a couple days ago. It's called bedtime mode or something like that. And there's two features that are on it. One is you can have a do not disturb mode turned on, which I don't because I still need my notifications. And then the other option is a black and white mode. And it basically just turns your screen black and white. You can either have it set to stay black and white until a certain time, or have it go black and white when you plug your phone in. And I have it set to have my screen black and white when it's plugged in. The only option on it is to have it set from 2 different times. And by default, it's 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. But I wanted it to be an all-day thing, so I kept it 9 p.m., but I changed the 2. It's from 9 p.m. to 8:59 p.m. So it's going to be 1 minute in color. And I was confused at first because, it is taking some time to get used to this. It is a cool feature. I really like it. It's just kind of confusing. Sometimes I have to unplug my phone if I'm watching a video or someone says me something or whatever. But for the most part, it works fine. It's just on this recording page, it's very color coordinated, and I wasn't sure if I was hitting the right things, but I guess I am. Anyway, this episode, it's a little change of what I was originally going to do. Okay, my mouse is stuck. Oh, there he goes. He just froze for a minute. Okay, so a slight change in what I was originally going to do. I was going to do 7 parts, remember? For my Ghost Stories series. 1 for each entry. The 7th one I haven't even written yet. I've got to do that, especially now. And then for the second part, I just combined 2 and 3. And then for this one, I said last time that I was going to start reading in advance. Like when I have these entries, I'm going to read them in advance so that I don't have another episode 7. For this episode, I went ahead and read the 4th part, I think. As the 4th entry, I went ahead and read it. And I'm gonna have to edit this as I read it, because I put a lot of personal info in it. It's a direct sequel to the New Mexico thing. Then that, since I'm gonna have to edit that down so much, I decided I was also gonna read the 5th part, which is, yeah, that one kind of ends on the cliffhanger because at the time that I posted these injuries, I posted all of these on the same day up to this point. And so like up to this point, I'd written only these 5 entries, and so it ends on the cliffhanger because, yeah, that's the story so far. And oh no, my mouse just went black. Okay, this is concerning. I have it's a wired mouse. It cycles through colors. It's a very lit up mouse, and it just went black. And I heard diddle, which means disconnected. So I'm gonna pause this while I fix it. Okay, that actually only took a few seconds. I probably didn't even have to pause. Wait, oh, it went black again. Huh. No, there it goes. It... Okay, it's lit up, but my mouse, the cursor is not moving. Where is the cursor? I have the... Oh, it's right in the middle of the screen. I have that feature turned on where if you hit the control button, it does like a circle around it, so you can find the cursor. It's dead center on the screen. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to pause this longer to find out what's wrong with my mouse. Okay, so the first time I just slightly pulled it out, put it back in. And this time I actually took it out, waited a few seconds, and shoved it back in, and now it seems to be working. Anyway, the fifth part ended on a cliffhanger because, again, as I said, it was the most recent thing. It ends on a cliffhanger because that's where it ended at the time. And then I did the last part, or the current last part, which is the update. 3 years later? Wait, let's see. Yeah, 3 years later. And that also kind of ends on a cliffhanger. That's the most recent one, until I rate the new one. Part 7. And because I wrote them in such ways, and I'm going to have to edit down the first one, I'm just going to cover all 3 in one. So make this a trilogy. Oh, wait, no. It'll be a trilogy as of tonight. And when I've written part 7, it'll be my ghost stories part 4. So 4 podcast episodes, 7 entries. But anyway, part 4 is called Missy. So I'm gonna have to skip a huge, the first 3 paragraphs. I'm just gonna only touch on the core details. We only lived in Alamogordo, New Mexico for 3 weeks. I'm going to sum up most of this 3 paragraphs. It didn't work out. We had to move back. We moved back to Merkel on the 26th of August, 2006. But wait. We paid for cursor's in the way. We paid for them to move the house. It was a trailer. So we didn't have a home. A church family let us stay with them for a couple of days while my stepfather house searched. Then, after a couple of days, another church family offered us one of their rental houses. They understood our situation, so they let us live there for free for the first 6 months until we can get back on our feet. I put all our savings, but it's my parents' savings. All their savings were spent on the move there and back, so we had to literally start from scratch. So it was truly a blessing that our friends did that, or we could have been homeless. When we moved into our new house, there was a closet in my room. The closet door was stuck and wouldn't open. My stepfather, who was very strong, strained himself trying to open it. He said he wasn't surprised because the house was built in 1921 and hadn't been lived in since 1996. This was 2006. Hadn't been lived in since 1998. This was 2006. I was disappointed I wouldn't be able to use my closet, but just glad to have a room. One night, a month later, I was reading on my bed at night when my closet door opened on its own. My parents heard the loud thud of me hitting the opposite wall as I backed into the wall and came running. Okay, yeah, now you know my stepfather's name. When my stepfather saw the closet door open, he asked how I did that, and I said it opened on its own. He swore loudly and went to go look in the closet. He pulled out an old stiff roll of sheets, a big bag of raggedy clothes, probably been in there for so long, and a box of coat hangers. To be honest, That means my sisters and I, we were disappointed that there wasn't something like a box of old letters or a body or Narnia. So after we cleaned the closet of all the dust, I moved my clothes in there and stored some boxes and such. A few days later, I had a dream vision of a little girl. Why is it always a little girl? She was in the closet and laughing. I know I didn't see this in real life because I remember waking up. Also, when I saw her, it was day, and when I woke up seconds later, it was night. But when I woke up, I could feel her there. I couldn't see her, and I never, other than the dream, I never actually saw her. But I knew she was there. I didn't know her name, so I called her Missy. When the morning came, I was about to tell my stepfather this, but he spoke first. He was pale, the skeptic. He said that he had woken up and heard what he thought was my mom's voice speaking to him. Then he realized that not only did she sleep on the other side of him, but she wasn't even home. She had left for work that morning. Also, the voice, once he realized this, didn't even sound like her. He had looked where the voice had come from, and nothing. He asked me to tell him the stories of the country, and I told him, and he apologized for not listening before. Then I told him about Missy. One night, I was writing a note to my friend Mark about something, and we used to do that all the time. We would write notes to each other and swap them at church. When I fell asleep while writing, I don't remember what the note was about, probably something random. But when I woke up, apparently Missy had possessed my hand, and I wrote a note. My note and handwriting stopped abruptly, and girl handwriting finished the note. It started by saying things like, "Help, Daddy will kill me," and then it went creepy with things like, "He will torture me in the bathroom. I fear the closet." It was all in little girl handwriting, and it was much different from mine. I showed my parents, and they were concerned. They asked the church friends who rented us the house if anyone had died in the house, and they said they didn't know. They bought the house in 2002. They had had trouble selling the house because it was in so much disrepair. In fact, when we first moved in, they spent several $1,000s having the house completely rewired and repiped. As I said, 1921. It had the original wiring and plumbing. It wasn't pretty. We did research into the house, and nothing came up on a death there. But my stepfather kept hearing the voices in the corner, and soon it turned into two voices conversing. One night, while I was writing another note, I felt a hand upon mine. It was icy, and I jumped like a mile. At the end of 2006, I moved out on my own shortly, but it didn't work out, so I moved back in. The moment I went back to my room, I ran to my parents' room and said, "I don't feel Missy anymore." My mom said, "After you moved out, we had some people come and pray for their spirits and led them to the light." My family still lives in that house, and there hasn't been any activity since they prayed them to the light. Update on that. This was written in 2012. My parents don't live there anymore. Once my brother was the youngest, my little brother, I only have one brother. My brother graduated in 2018, and they sold the house, and now they're truck drivers. So I guess that was a smart move because they tried truck driving before, like when they've long ago, but yeah, all their money went, they had to send it to us for the rent and all the bills, and it didn't work out, so they stopped. And then now they're truck driving again. Now all the kids are out of the house. They don't have a house. So they can save now. So I actually visited the last week that they were there because, again, I moved to Ohio in 2014, and I went and visited for my 30th birthday. Okay, so what was it? It was three things in one. It was my 30th birthday, my brother's graduation, and my mom's last day at her job, all in one day. Because yeah, you see on here where I said that she had left for work. She had started working at. Well, she had a job. It was a really good job, and but she left to start the semi stuff with my stepfather. They do like a tag team thing, and it's really cool. And so, like, but yeah, when I was visiting, it was the last week that they were going to be in that house, and the whole house, no, everything was packed up, and yeah, I still consider, we all still consider the house in the country to be, like, that was our favorite place. Like, we all miss the house in the country, but I didn't even think about this until a couple years ago when they moved out of the house, and my stepfather and I, we were sitting in the living room on like the recliners. It's kind of like reminiscing, and I was like, you know how we always consider the country house to be like, our house, and we say like home. We're talking about the house in the country. He goes, oh yeah. It's a great place. I should have never left. I said, yeah, we only lived there for 5 years. And he goes, wait, what? Oh, you're right. And I was like, yeah, and y'all lived in this house for 12 years. And this country house still feels more like home. So, yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. But, the whole thing with Missy and whatever spirits were in my parents' room, that was only like the first 5 months or so that we lived there. And yeah, when I stayed, I slept in the house I was visiting for a week, and I slept in the living room on the floor because like everything was packed up, like everyone was sleeping on the floor. They'd gotten rid of everything, and yeah, like I didn't experience anything. I even spent some time in that room. It was all packed up. My brother had already moved out. Yeah, just my parents living there at that point. And I spent some time in my old room, and yeah, I didn't feel anything. Like, she wasn't there. She's been gone for 12 years. Wow. 14 years at this point. That was a long time ago. So, yeah. That takes me to the next one, called, wait, actually, I just got a Facebook notification. Okay, so the next entry is called My Apartment. It's where I was living at the time I posted all of these. I moved into my apartment on 28th March 2009. Within a month, I started feeling a presence. I assumed I was imagining it because what are the odds the last 3 places I lived were haunted. But then sometime in August 2009, Mark and our friend Ellie were over. Oh yeah, real quick, go back to the Missy story. This was my most controversial story. It's part of the reason I skipped the first 3 paragraphs. It caused an argument in the comments. Like they were starting to like completely discredit all of my entries on here because the reason we had to move back to Texas, like we only stayed for 3 weeks, it was like the way my stepfather lost his job there. It was not his fault, but I won't go into detail, obviously. It was something stupid. It was the boss there was really stupid, and like, yeah, but that little detail completely discredited everything I wrote on here to these people. And they were like nitpicking every little tiny detail. Like, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. No. Why did he fire him for that? That has nothing to do with the story. I was just giving context that, the last entry ended with us moving to New Mexico, and now we're back in Texas. So I was giving you context for why we moved back. I could have just said, like what I said when I was reading it, is it didn't work out, we moved back. But no, I wanted to give detail. I gave a little too much detail, apparently. But yeah, thought I would throw that in there. That's kind of why I was going through the comments in the other entries, is that one was the worst one. I was going to go through all the comments, but I decided not to read those paragraphs. So it would have been weird. It's like, I don't remember mentioning that. Okay, so anyway, Ellie and I were sitting on the bed and Mark was standing. Oh, this was in August 2009. My friends Mark and Ellie were over. Ellie and I were sitting on the bed and Mark was standing. My bedroom door was closed. Then suddenly it was opened. Ellie and I saw it, but Mark claims to this day he never saw it. He has since confessed that he did see it. This was written in 2012. And this was 3 years after it happened, I think. 4? I don't know. And, like, years after I posted this, like, we were talking about it, and he was like, a little confession, I did see it, but I was freaked out. I'd never seen anything like that, so I just kept saying I never saw it. But he did see it. It's like, how can you miss a door opening in front of you? Anyway, over the next year, I kept another Facebook notification. Maybe I should have the Do Not Disturb thing on. Over the next year, where was that? Oh, I kept seeing things in the corner of my eye. One time, Ellie was in my kitchen, and then she screamed. She said she saw someone walking through my living room. In 2010, one day, I was getting ready for something, and I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth. I had the bathroom door open. I turned briefly and saw someone standing there, and then he walked away. I didn't write that in here, but he wasn't just standing there the whole time. Like, I kind of saw something in the corner of my eye, and I looked, and I saw him standing there, and then he just turned and walked away. He looked like Pat Sajak, host of Wheel of Fortune, so I started calling him Pat. And by that, because people mention it in the comments, like, Pat Sajak has many looks over the years. I'm talking, like, early 90s Pat Sajak, when he had, like the longer hair, and, like, the 80s style. That's kind of what the guy looked like. Like, Pat Sajak when I was a kid. I don't watch Wheel of Fortune. Now he has, like, really short hair, and, no. So, one day, call him Pat. One day in 2010, there was a knock on the door. When I answered it, no one was there. But there was the feeling of a presence there, and I had this intense feeling to follow it. It led me to the parking lot of my apartment complex. Then it left. And I walked back to my apartment confused. As a detail I didn't put in here, I mean, like, because I was in my apartment, I was, like, in, like, relaxing clothes and stuff, shorts, I had no shoes or socks on. I literally just started walking. I walked into the parking lot, barefoot, with, like, when I'm home, I wear muscle shirts, because it's more comfortable. When I'm out in public, I don't wear that, or shorts. I don't even like checking the mail. Like, when I was there, I wouldn't even check the mail without, like, throwing pants and a t-shirt on. So, yeah, I just, like, I had this feeling to follow it, so I just went, and I never do that. Like, even now, like, I don't like, if I'm gonna go take the trash out, I, like, throw a robe on or something. And they were like, you're not naked, what does it matter? Like, it matters to me! I'm self-conscious. So, anyway, where was I? Oh. In 2011, one day, there was, I thought someone outside my room. Because, like, somebody was walking, and I saw a shadow under my door. There's a fridge right outside my door, and I saw the shadow of someone standing there, and they walked away. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to mute this, because someone's gonna knock, and then they walked away. So anyway, in 2011 one day, I was in the kitchen making something to eat. As I was leaving the kitchen, someone appeared directly in front of me. I stumbled in my attempt to avoid running into them, but no one was there, and I hit the ground. In late 2011, I was woken up by what sounded like my glass patio door shattering. I ran into my living room only to find the door intact. Every morning for months I heard that sound. Soon I started hearing conversations coming from my living room. One day I walked into the living room and had a Dorito thrown at me. At the time, I didn't even have any Doritos in my apartment. Side note that I didn't put in here. Yes, I ate it. I went to ask my apartment office if anyone ever died in my apartment. They said no and asked why, and I told them the stories. And the whole time they were just kind of smirking like, yeah, sure. But then I mentioned the sound of my patio door shattering, and they all stopped laughing. Some of them even turned white. I asked what it was, and none of them admitted to knowing what I was talking about. But instead said that I needed to leave because the office was closing for the day shortly. I ran into one of the maintenance workers recently. At the time I wrote this, I looked away for a second. Now I can't find it. Recently, and asked if he knew if anyone ever died in my apartment. He told me that he had worked in the complex since it was built, which sounds like a very long time, but it was built in '96. And remember, this was 2011, I think. I didn't put the date that this happened. But yeah, like around then. It was like 15 years old apartment at complex at that point. I ran into one of the maintenance... built in '96. He says he knows every apartment where someone had died, and there had been none in my building or the building next to it. There were 17 buildings in my apartment complex. So that was a lot of them. It's a massive complex. And I looked away again. He knows every part someone died in. There had been none in my building or the building next to it. He was also kind of laughing as I told him the stories. But when I got to the patio door, he reacted the same as the office workers had. Except he said, "Hey, don't go telling people that story." Scroll down further. Oh no. Things were starting to calm down until a few days ago. Today is 19 September 2012. That's the day I posted all of these entries that I'd read up till this point. I was taking the trash bag to the dumpster. As I was making my way there, I saw a tall black guy in a trench coat slowly walking towards me. I was waiting for him to move, as I had a heavy trash bag, but he didn't even seem to notice me. So I stepped off the sidewalk into the grass and walked around him. I didn't think anything of this at the time. I just assumed maybe he was deep in thought. But as I was coming back, I saw him turn a corner. I made it to that corner a few seconds later, and there was nobody in there. There's nobody in sight. There's no way he could have gotten anywhere that fast. I told a friend of mine who believes I saw a full apparition. Yesterday, I was laying down, waiting for my girlfriend to text me back. My girlfriend at the time. Obviously. So I went to sit up. My desk... let me start that paragraph over. Yesterday, I was laying down, waiting for my girlfriend to text me back. As I went to sit up, my desk dropped. It startled me. It had been leaning back, as if somebody had pushed on it, and then let it go when I sat up. My monitor shook, and one of my speakers fell to the ground. That was kind of the catalyst for me writing this, because I had those two... Wait. Maybe I should just continue reading the entry. I thought it was odd having two major experiences in a row like that. See, that's why I should keep reading. I addressed what I was about to talk about. So I decided to start telling my stories to people, but I didn't know where to go. I typed up my stories, sent them to my girlfriend, who has had her experiences of her own. The stories I have submitted here tonight on this site are tweaked versions of the stories I wrote to her. I did send them to her in parts and titled them Story 1, Story 2, etc. There are things I didn't have to explain to her when I told her, and I've added those details to these versions. This entry was actually copied and pasted from 3 different stories. This was Story 5, 6, and 7, but they were each so short I combined them into this long Story 5. A few hours ago, I was watching a video about the girl in Hawaii named Clarissa who could see ghosts. In the video, it said that at the time of filming, she was 5 and was afraid to talk. I wanted to find out if she had spoken, so I googled it. One of the first results was this site, yourghoststories.com. I was so excited at the idea of being able to post my stories here that I completely forgot to find out about Clarissa, which I will do after I submit this. I don't think I did, because I don't remember that. I want to thank the creators of the site for making it, because there's not very many places that let you post your ghost stories. Not even Coast to Coast AM's website. First place I looked, and that's the end of that site. I will look up Clarissa right now. Clarissa explains it all. Nah, it's not the Clarissa I'm looking for. Hawkins. Hawaii ghost girl. That should be enough details for them to know what I'm talking about. If not, then, chain letter ghost story about the little girl Clarissa. That is not it. Clarissa Rain CW fandom. Don't know. Megan Rath? No, none of these. None of these are what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah. So, on to part 6. It was written 3 years later, because I posted every entry I've read up to this point in parts 1 and 2, and now were posted on the same day, 19 September 2012. This one was posted on March 3rd, 2015. It's called Partial Apartment Enters and Moved to Ohio. It's been a few years since I posted on this site. I moved out of my apartment last April, moving from Texas to Ohio. If you read the entry about my apartment, you'll remember that there was a mystery about me hearing my patio door glass shattering, and the apartment office not telling me about the history of the unit. Well, a few days before I moved, one of my neighbors told me that 10 years before I moved in, there was a break-in. The person smashed the patio door glass, and the tenant was shot. He lived and is still alive today, or at least at the time of writing, I don't know. At least at the time I moved, because I guess that person was still in contact with him. Though long moved back out of the area, but apparently the event was traumatic enough to leave an impression. Someone commenting the apartment entry said that that's a possibility, and I know that now that that's what happened. I think so as well. That doesn't explain the rest of my experiences there. However, the face, the tall guy, and the... Wait, what face? The face, the tall guy... Oh yeah, Pat. The tall guy in the trench coat, the knock on the door, the bedroom door slamming, screaming, scaring my friends. The maintenance worker, I asked, said no one had ever died in my building, and he'd been working there since the complex was built in '96, so he'd know. Someone died 2 buildings away from mine in 2002, but that's the closest he could remember to mine. The complex had 17 buildings, and the office was a separate building. Anyway, where I live here in Ohio, I have 2 roommates. There are 2 4-line paragraphs left, and this story is kind of long, and I know that I'm going to have to expand on it when I'm finished reading. I'm just going to read these 2 paragraphs verbatim and then add to it. Anyway, where I live here in Ohio, I have 2 roommates, and there are 4 rooms in this house. The biggest room in the house is empty, and to be honest, all 3 of us get the creeps just being in it. We can't rent it out because no one wants no one who walks in there agrees to stay. I don't know if it's haunted or if the size is just intimidating, but thought I'd throw it out there with this update and see if anyone had any ideas. There are times when I walk through the front door and I hear someone knocking on the wall. I've checked and there's nothing in the room that would hit the wall. In fact, the room is completely empty, other than the knocking and uneasy feeling. There's nothing to report about the room. Kind of disappointment that there's not more activity like apparitions or voices, but at the same time, at least it's quiet. Yep. Oh. I scrolled down to the comments and I did update. Okay, it's a small update. I was getting ready to be like, okay, it continued after that. Okay. Actually, I have an update to this story, but I don't want to appear to be creating a narrative, so I've been putting it off. But basically, a couple weeks after posting this, we found out that the previous owner died in that room. I asked my pastor to come pray in the room, and ever since then, all sounds have stopped. The feeling of unease has lifted, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the story. I didn't. But even though the heater was on and the rest of the house was warm, the vent in that room was blowing warm air, and the vent in that room was blowing warm air. The room itself used to be ice cold at all times. Now it's warm like the rest of the house. I've actually moved into that room last week at the time of posting. Oh, the comments have a date. They have the date but not the time, so I can't tell what order these are on. April 21st, 2005, so like almost 2 months after posting this. I moved into the room last week because my room was cramped and haven't experienced anything since moving into the room. I have a second comment, which is actually a funny story. It says, I actually have a funny story. All throughout winter, I kept hearing a growl from the back of the house several times a day. It really freaked me out. Mid-January, it happens when I'm next to my roommate. I said, please tell me you hear that. He said, what, the heater kicking on? I'd never lived in a house that uses gas heating before. So yeah, that was the story of that house. So yeah, not much of an update on that. Now that I think, that intro is mostly updating the apartment, and I wanted to post like, hey, this weird thing's going on in the house I'm living in, and I literally devoted 2 paragraphs to it at the very, very bottom. And the ending of that is actually in the comments. So, let's see. How long has this been going on? 40 minutes. I kind of want to start talking about the experiences I was going to talk about. I mustn't. I will wait. In part 7, which would actually be part 4 of this, there is an update. It's multi-leveled. Like, it doesn't just cover, at this one place there was a ghost. No, it's actually multiple places. Basically, this was posted 5 years ago. Well, 5.5, because that was in March, and it's now October. So it's been 5.5 years. A lot has happened. Like, a lot has happened. So I'm gonna wait until I actually type the entry. It is currently October 16th, 2020 at 4:29 a.m. The month is half over, and I've already done all the typed entries on here. So I have half a month to type up that one. It might even be the longest entry because so much has happened. So, yeah. Let's see. anything else to add to what I've already... I already said everything about Missy. I think the most experience I had in these 3 entries, the most experience actually came from the apartment. Because there was like little incidences that I didn't write about. I wrote the big ones. But then like there was always stuff like the fact I threw in the whole thing about the Dorito, like that was an example of a little thing. Like stuff like that would happen periodically. It wasn't like every day something was happening. If that was true, if that was the case, I would be setting up cameras there, like Paranormal Activity or something. No, it was always periodic. There was an incident. I was actually trying to find this recently, and I couldn't find it. Where I'd had a really long day, and I had a lot of stuff happen, and I was venting to a friend on Facebook. I think it was in like 2013. Because I remember, because it was the couch and everything. My sister gave me a couch in 2013, and because like before then I was basically in a folding chair in front of the fat screen TV, and then she and my brother-in-law basically fully furnished my house because they were moving. I mentioned that in the previous entry. They were moving to Germany, and they didn't want to take a ton of stuff, so they basically gave me like all their furniture and their flat screen TV. So actually furnished my apartment like 5 years after I moved in. Yeah, that was great furniture. I wish I could have brought it, but I probably would have lost it by now anyway. So I took the TV with me, but anyway, but I digress. So one night I had a really long day, and I was venting to a friend on Facebook, and I didn't feel like typing, so I was telling her in a series of 1-minute audio messages, because even though it's been years and years and years, well, maybe not years and years and years and years, they've had that feature for years. You can still only record up to 1 minute. They introduced the feature, and they've never updated it since. But anyway, so I sent her like 7 or 8 messages, those audio messages, and she was like, "Hey, in that 7th one, did I hear a cat? I don't have a cat." Well, I went back and I listened to that. When she said that, I went and listened to whatever entry she said. She heard it, and then sure enough, while I'm talking, I was like, I stopped to take a breath, and you hear meow, like a very distinct cat meow, and I blood froze because I knew immediately what that was. About a year or so previously, there had been a cat that fell. Like, it had fallen off a tree and landed in my patio, and it was like severely injured, and I was afraid to touch it. I was gonna wait till morning to call somebody to come help it, but it passed away in the night. And I was afraid to touch it, but like people were like, I posted about it, and people were criticizing me, like, you should have brought it inside and at least like kept it warm or something, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure there was much I could have done. I'm not a vet. I don't have animal experience. Point is, the cat died, and next thing I know, I hear a cat in a recording, and there shouldn't... Oh, wait, actually, I think I did save it. Like, I forgot all about this. Obviously, I didn't, because I went looking for it on Messenger. She and I, like, were still friends. Like, I looked on the search in the conversation feature on Messenger. I looked for it, and I couldn't find it. So, but I think I remember, wait, the cat, there it is, ghost cat. Okay, it's a 2.5 minute. I'm going to try... Wait, I don't even know where the speaker is on my TV. I've had this TV for like 2 years. I don't know where the speaker is. I'm going to try to put the mic next to my... Actually, I should probably... I turned the volume down. So, let's see. Turning it up. Alright. I'm going to try to play the audio. Okay, making sure the mic still works. Okay. Okay, so it has a text thing. I don't know if I actually speak in this. Okay, on the 15th of March 2012, a cat fell out of the tree next to my apartment, hit the rail on my patio, and landed on my patio. I could hear it crying in pain for at least half an hour, but it died before anyone could come. Probably shouldn't have paused that at the beginning of the text appearing. On the 27th of March 2013, so about a year later, I was walking through my apartment when it... Oh, yeah. I gave different... oh, wow. I forgot about this. I was walking through my apartment when it felt like I ran into something. Only problem is there was nothing in front of me at all. Not for 10 feet. But I had a cut on my knee, and my friend said it looked like a claw mark. I think I posted a picture on here of that. Yep. I'm staring at a picture of my cut knee. A couple of days later, on the 29th of March, the exact same thing happened at the exact same spot of my apartment. And then I had a second cut next to the previous one. Again, there was nothing there. I remember this now. I ran into nothing. And it's not like in the clumsy way, like, oh, I choked on air. No, like, there was literally nothing there. And I ran into like an invisible object. And there's the picture. Last night, on 8 August 2013... I had a busy evening and told a friend of mine about it via Facebook audio messages. I should probably stop pausing then. Did you hear a cat meow? There we go. As you can see, so you could hear a cat meowing in one of the recordings. I don't have a cat. I think this is where it starts to play. Unfortunately, you're unable to save Facebook audio messages, so I had to play the recording on my computer and film the speaker with my phone. You hear it after I say Snickers ice cream bar. Now, when does it start? Okay, so apparently the audio played, it's just I didn't hear anything, so I doubt you did, because it moved on to the text after that. Let's see. Let me turn it up. Wait, let's see. It's turned up on YouTube. Oh, there it is. I turned my TV up, but the computer volume was set to like 10. Now you should be able to hear it.
At a mango Arizona tea, a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, and a Snickers ice cream bar. Anyway, so after about half an hour.
So it would seem that I have a ghost cat in my apartment. Oh yeah, there's music. So it would seem that I have a ghost cat in my apartment. Every now and then I could hear a cat out on my patio crying like that one did. When I check, nothing is there. My neighbors have heard it too because they also come to check. And then I play it. Yeah. So, yeah, I got a recording of a ghost cat. So that's a thing. Oh, and okay, hang on. I have other things I posted on Facebook. I'll just do a search for ghost on my channel. Ghost cat, ghost neighbor, ghost recon. Oh, that's okay. Ghost recon. A lot of ghost recons. Wow, I posted a lot about ghost recon. I actually think that might be. Okay, yeah. The rest of them are just ghost recon. Okay, I have 2 videos on here about. There's the cat video, ghost neighbor. I ended up having to change the name of this to Ghost Neighbor because at first I called it Crazy Neighbors, and it's me. I got annoyed because they were being so loud. Okay, so my episode about my gaming history, basically, I talked about how my upstairs neighbor and we swapped consoles for a year until he moved. Yeah, so for a couple years, nobody lived in that upstairs apartment. I didn't know this. I would hear things. I would like people dropping things and stomping and yelling, and I got annoyed, and I finally one day I just started recording as evidence. And I posted it. And I called it "Crazy Loud Neighbors" or something like that. And then I went and showed the apartment office, and they were like, "No one's living up there." I was like, "Are you sure?" It sounds like someone's up there. So they went and checked, and they said the place is clean. Like if someone was squatting, 'cause that was our first thought, was somebody was squatting. Somebody was in there and they weren't supposed to be. But they said the apartment was completely clean. No one had been up there since Ernie moved. And so, yeah. I changed the title to Ghost Neighbor. Yeah, that. Oh crap! I just thought of something. That's going to be a weird. It's going to be weird for someone watching that now because in the video I put like text over it and like, see, you hear them? They're being loud. Like, listen to this. They're going to start stomping. But after I had uploaded the video, and then I found out there was someone living up there, and I changed it to Ghost Neighbor. I put annotations over the video explaining what had happened. And now annotations don't exist on YouTube. So it's going to look like I'm being really angry with a ghost neighbor. Like, why are they calling it a ghost neighbor? Yeah, so that's a thing that happened. Okay, let me check the Facebook thingies. Okay, let's see. Okay, so something happened here tonight where I live. Somebody, I guess they were speeding or something. I don't know. It was like it was like 1:30 in the afternoon. It was across the street from where I live, like not like outside my window, like kind of down the hill, but like I can still see, like it's across the street but down the hill. It's confusing. And they ran into a power pole and knocked it down, which brought in a second pole down with it. And like the whole area was out of power, but we were left untouched. This house I'm at was left untouched. Like we all heard an explosion. I didn't hear the explosion. I was asleep, but I woke up and a couple of my friends had posted pictures of the downed power poles, and And then like all my neighbors were like, "You didn't hear that explosion?" Like, no. And then yeah, and so tonight, at like, let's see, when did I post this? It says 5 hours ago, and it's 4:45. At 11:37 p.m., I was walking to Kroger, which was right next to where the pole was, and obviously, they're still working on it. They put the pole back up, but they're still like fixing it and everything. So there was like 4 of those big white trucks with the cranes on all sides of it. And so they had like road closed signs to stop people from going through. And somebody I witnessed, like where I was, or not. I wish I could just show the video here. That I filmed something and posted it on TikTok, and then posted it on the community page on Facebook for the city. Basically, right next to where I was standing right next to one of the road closed signs, and somebody sped through it. Like it was like they shattered the, like the wood thing. I think they call it like a sawhorse or something. I think I heard somebody once call it a sawhorse. It said road closed. Someone drove through it and shattered it, like right next to me, and I could see them. Like I could see them speeding towards it. I knew what they were going to do. I pulled my phone out, and I didn't open the camera quick enough. I got a picture of the aftermath. Hang on, I'll see if I can. Do TikTok videos work on the computer? Let's see. Let's play the audio. I took a picture of the aftermath. So, do I have to hit play? It's okay, so earlier today somebody crashed into the... Okay, yeah, it's gonna take forever to load. No. Yep. What you yeah, that's basically what I'm getting. And so far that post has 3 comments. It has a bunch of shocked reactions. Someone said, "I'm glad you caught this. When you should turn it in. People just don't care anymore, and it's dangerous." And I said, actually, I don't even remember what I said. It was literally 5 hours ago. 2 hours ago. Wow. I told someone in the white trucks when I was walking home after shopping at Kroger the pieces had been picked up and jerry-rigged back together. Oh wow, that one came out of nowhere. Usually you can feel a building. And the reason I laughed a minute ago, somebody said, well, there's a bar near there. And they said they had to get to the bar. Happy hour. Yeah. Wait, what city is that? Oh, that's... I just noticed the cover, because I always look at the group on my phone. I never go to it on the computer. And there's a cover image. I never noticed it before. And I'm like, ooh, what city is that? That's my city. It's an aerial view. I've never seen it from this angle. But anyway, that is probably where I'm going to end this. Yeah, I need to write the 7th entry to make part 4. But like I said, I've got the second half of the month, because it's the 16th. Which means that the Game Pass games have updated today. Not Game Pass, Games with Gold. Let's see. I'll do that after. But yeah, I will write that. I do have some ideas for other like Halloween themed scary stories. I haven't made every entry. I haven't made every episode this month something scary because streaming services. So yeah, but I do. I do have other ideas instead of just talking about my ghost stories. That's part of the reason I felt comfortable just combining them all, because the reason I wanted to make individual episodes for each entry was to kind of pad the episodes out. But then, like, it was like, I'm gonna combine them. The reason I don't mind that so much is I do have more ideas. Because when I first started this podcast, I only had like 2 or 3 episode ideas. And then, like, sometimes, like, I won't even know what am I going to do an episode tonight? Probably not. I don't know. But then, like, I'll think of something, or like I'll see a video, or someone will say something, and it like spurs an idea, and then I'll like whip out the mic and have an episode that I didn't think I was going to do 5 minutes ago. So, yeah, like, if you notice, I'm not really consistent. I'll post like 3 days consecutively and then not post for 4 days. And so, yeah, that's the nature of this show. I never know what I'm going to say or when I'm going to say it. So, but my point is, I do have some ideas. Now that I'm getting a little more comfortable with making the episodes, because before it was just like, I'm improvising. I'm still improvising, but there is a little bit of planning going into it now. And I do have some ideas for upcoming episodes. So, I'm starting to know what I'm doing. I'm not an expert yet. I'm not like a professional podcaster. I'm still trying to figure this out. Maybe someday I'll have an intro and outro, or like a pre-recorded thing. Maybe I'll have music, opening music, because I kind of don't like how I go, okay, I'm just going to end it, and then it ends. It's like most of the podcasts I listen to have opening and closing music. But I wouldn't know anything about that. I do have a guitar, and I started to teach myself to play through Rocksmith on Xbox. And I know like very basic stuff. I've one of the strings broke, and it's been in the case ever since. I think that was last year sometime. So like, yeah, I haven't played it in like a year, and I only played it for like 3 months. So I had like very basic. Oh wait, on Spotify I made a playlist of songs I could play, and let's see. Where is I don't even remember. Is it in the custom playlist? No. Let's see. It's got to be around here because these are older playlists, so it's got to be above here. Oh, songs I can play. There's only 3. And it's songs that anyone who's ever touched a guitar could play. Wake Me Up When September Ends, Seven Nation Army, and Smoke on the Water. I should add this to the list. Every instrument I've ever played, I can kind of play the piano. And I bought an ocarina. It was a replica, a ceramic replica of the Ocarina of Time, and you can actually play it. And every instrument I ever play on, I've never looked up the notes for that or anything, but I've always been able to just figure out My Heart Will Go On. And sure enough, I figured it out on the guitar. So I think the reason I didn't add it on here is because I didn't play it on Rocksmith. Is it? I don't even know if it's on Rocksmith. That'd be weird. Oh, look. One playlist down, Rocksmith. Filter. Okay, let's see. Let's see real quick. My Heart Will... Nope. Okay, with My Heart, there's four results, and I don't know. Oh, Kickstart My Heart. Can You Feel My Heart? Piece of My Heart. And Hearts Burst Into Fire. But they don't have My Heart Will Go On. How dare they not play? They don't have a flute song on there. But anyway, I said I was going to end this like 10 minutes ago, and I've stopped talking about ghost stories longer than that. So I'm just going to go now. So yeah,